I'm Plami, and in this episode of Plami's Thoughts On, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on the 4th episode of the 13th season of what used to be one of my favorite shows ever, Doctor Who. And wow, we finally have an episode that I genuinely can consider one of my favorites ever. Like, not just in the Chibnall era, which it easily is the best episode of the Chibnall era, but it's genuinely one of my favorite episodes of Doctor Who ever. Like, how the hell does that happen in the Chibnall era, you know? But yeah, this one was like so fucking good because obviously it featured probably my favorite Doctor Who villain, aka the Weeping Angels, and it used them in quite a few pretty creative ways. I gotta say, it was really entertaining to see them uh, uh, in a creepy atmosphere, in a creepy place. And it was just really cool to see them in a story again, because the last time we saw the Weeping Angels in a story in which they were the focus was straight up a decade ago. Jesus Christ, now that I think about it. Because like Series 7 aired in 2012, 2013, right? So it's straight up 10 years ago. Holy fuck. It's a long time. Jesus Christ, how is it so long? How is it so long? It's been 10 years since Angels Take Manhattan. God damn. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of an existential crisis right now. Whew. So yeah, I really did enjoy it. And so many of the characters, like, of this episode are the best characters that we have gotten in the last 4 episodes, like Jericho, Eustachius Jericho, the professor in this episode, again, similarly to Dan, instantly became one of the most badass and entertaining characters, and it would be honestly really cool to see somebody like him as a companion in the show, because especially because of the nature of how he thinks and everything, him being a professor who studies I'm not exactly sure exactly what he studies, but he studies, you know, like, the paranormal things that are unexplainable and everything. Like, he's that kind of like a person who looks for factual proofs and everything. He's like a better version of Charles Dickens all the way from Series 1, you know, where he does not refuse to accept the existence of things he cannot explain, but instead he's fascinated by it. He's very much like the Doctor, like that, you know. So I really enjoyed him in this episode, and he was such a badass when he was facing off against the Weeping Angels, especially when with his line that he is not blinking, and that is the power he has over them. Like, that was so fucking badass, man. That was so cool. Like, that's how you make a one-time character be memorable. He was so good. And Claire Brown, she was a very entertaining character as well. We already were, how to say it, she was already set up as a mystery in the first episode, so I was already very interested in her. Like, she piqued my interest in that episode, so I was excited to see where her story is going to go, and I think it delivered pretty well. But as I said in my review for War of the Sontarans, this episode suffers pretty much the same fate as War of the Sontarans, where it could have been a really good episode, like a straight up 10 out of 10 episode, if you didn't have the Flux and Division connection. Although for this episode, it would be harder to not have the Division and Flux be included in some way, shape, or form, because it's a big part of the plot of the episode, you know? Although I feel like the initial idea of like a rogue Weeping Angel is a cool enough idea on its own, where you didn't really have to use the Division crap to spice it up. I feel like that was a cool enough idea on its own. And I just want to really point out how Chibnall really seems to have a trope with whenever he's reusing classic Doctor Who villains, aka villains who have become some of the most loved and memorable monsters, like the Cybermen, the Weeping Angels, and the Daleks. and whenever he uses them, he really seems to make them stand out. Like, he takes an individual of that alien species and makes them stand out. We had it with the Dalek, who ended up possessing people and building his new armor out of like Sheffield steel. We had Assad, I don't remember his exact name, who was like a Cyberman with rage and emotions, I think, or something. I didn't really watch last season, I'm sorry. But it was a cool concept. Like, the Lone Cyberman was a cool concept. And now with the Weeping Angels, we have a rogue angel who escaped and hid in someone's mind. Like, that is a really fucking cool idea. And the visualization of when the Doctor was talking to the Weeping Angels with the strip of beach with the two sides of the ocean, that was such a cool fucking visual. Like, holy shit, that was really fucking good, man. But yeah, I just really like the idea of like a rogue angel. It's really cool. I honestly think would have liked Chibnall's writing more. I feel like he has some really good ideas, but he's really bad at executing them. Because I don't dislike necessarily the idea of a Dalek possessing a human, but I feel like it was done in a very cheesy and bland way. With the Lone Cyberman, he did it better, but again, it didn't really go anywhere. He was cool for one episode, and afterwards, he was gone and replaced by the Timeless Child crap and the Master as a villain. And now with the Weeping Angels, we have a cool idea of like a rogue Weeping Angel who maybe potentially could have become a good guy, so to speak. And who needed help from the Doctor, but no, it was because he was escaping from the Division, and the Division ended up going after the Doctor, thus leaving the Angel alone. So yeah, at least in this case, I feel like the Division stuff and the Flux stuff that are the overarching plot actually adds more to this episode than it takes away. Because as I said with the War of the Centaurans, I feel like if you remove the Flux and everything, the episode, while still has good ideas, it's only like a 25 to 30 minutes worth of content in the episode that is actually about the Centaurans. While in this episode, I feel like if you took out the Division, I think you probably get a better episode. Especially if you flesh out the idea of like a village which the Angels use for something. I mean, when you think about it, that possible plot is very similar to what they did with Winter Quay in Angels Take Manhattan. So one way you could look at this episode could have been like a better version of Angels Take Manhattan, because it would have actually played into some of the creepier factor of the Weeping Angels, where they are statues who move, and putting them in a village with like graveyard and everything, and in like the early 1900s or in the early 20th century. It's like a really cool setting for that stuff. Like, I feel like some of the vibe that I got from this episode, or at least I was expecting to get from this episode, really reminded me of Resident Evil Village, which is a really cool game, honestly, at least in the beginning 30 minutes to an hour, that I'm going to play at some point in the future, because I haven't played it on my channel, but I've watched some people play through it a little bit. Like, the atmosphere of like a village being destroyed and taken over by some creepy creature is a really cool idea, and I feel like they could have done something really cool with it in this episode, but they kind of just decided to bog it down with shit ton of dumb sci-fi and overarching plot stuff. But it was still a pretty good episode. I liked all the callbacks to previous Weeping Angel episodes, with somebody having dust in their eye after facing off with the angels and everything. That was a really cool callback. I really like the callback of an angel coming out through a TV, and in this episode we also had an angel come out of a piece of paper, so I guess that confirms that literally anything that looks like an angel becomes itself an angel. So now I'm actually really curious about finding out how were the Weeping Angels created, because like I can understand like an image on a screen, like from a camera, becoming an angel. But I don't understand how exactly does just a painting of an angel become an angel. Like, how accurate does a painting of an angel need to be before the angel becomes real. That is a really cool idea when you think about it. And it's something that I would really like the show to explore at some point in the future, because we have already kind of had an explanation of exactly what it means to observe an angel. Like, if you observe an angel, aka if you're looking at them, even through a camera, they cannot move. But you can look at things that they are affecting. Like, you can look at a door on which they are on the other side of, and they are trying to open it, as we saw in the Angels two-parter in Series 5. So it could be cool to explore how realistic does a drawing of an angel need to be before it becomes a real angel. But I have seen some people criticize that those callbacks are not really callbacks as much as they're kind of like rip-offs, because they don't really amplify anything about the previous time that they've been used. Like, an angel coming out through the TV is not made creatively more interesting than the last time we saw it. I would say it's probably worse because of the way they defeat the angel in that moment, because in the episode in which it was originally shown in Series 5, Amy defeats the angel in a very smart way, where she pauses the image on the screen whenever there is actually no angel there. So that's a very clever way of defeating it. But in this episode, Jericho just smashes the TV, which still leads to a pretty badass line from him, as I said earlier, but it's just a lamer way, you know. So yeah, we had a really cool scene right when the Doctor found out exactly what the Weeping Angels are after, when they were trying to escape from Jericho's house through like a tunnel or something. Which I wonder if that tunnel has anything to do with that guy from the early 1900s that was building tunnels in London. I doubt it, but it could have a connection because it's like tunnels. But I don't know. I just don't really know. We'll see. We still don't know exactly what he's about, but hopefully it's not gonna be something really stupid. But we had a really cool scene when they were trying to escape through the tunnels, and Jericho obviously got transported back in time. Claire managed to get out, and the Doctor was essentially kind of stuck, not being able to get outside, because if she turns around and doesn't look at the angels, they can get her. So she was supposed to quickly run out. But once she did, the angels didn't go after her. So that was actually kind of surprisingly creepy, because the show has kind of taught us about how the Weeping Angels function. So if you look away, they're going to have moved and be closer to you. It's kind of how the walkers in The Walking Dead were creepier in Series 9 when we got introduced to the new villains. Because the walkers used to move a certain way until Season 9, but then it changed, so it was creepier seeing them move in a different way. So it's kind of the same with the Weeping Angels. We were trained to expect a certain thing, and now that they did not do that thing, that was creepy. Because why would the angels not attack the Doctor and teleport her or whatever they want to do with her? Because they already essentially got her. Because once she gets outside of the tunnel, she notices Claire has been caught by the angel who is now outside of her, and who says that he has made a deal with the rest of the Weeping Angels who are after him, that they're going to take the Doctor instead of him. And we have a really, I gotta say, the transformation of the Doctor into a Weeping Angel, really good look. It was a really good looking visual, and conceptually, I can kind of like it. Like, I don't think it's like a bad idea. Like, I kind of like it. I dig it. Visually and conceptually, I dig it. But the thing that bothers me about that scene is something that has kind of been bothering me about the Chibnall era as a whole, where I don't really feel... I mean, obviously Chibnall doesn't tackle sci-fi in the same way that Moffat and RTD do. But it's just that his way of tackling sci-fi, I feel like, does not fit with Doctor Who as a whole, as a show. Because I feel like no matter how batshit insane and crazy ideas Doctor Who has had, it always felt like it has been like grounded for the most part. Like it's supposed to take itself seriously and not have magical girl transformations like we had in this episode, or with like the stupid parallel universe frog that we had in series 11. Like those two things are just too ridiculous for me to believe it, you know? And in this case, I'm willing to let it go because I like it visually and conceptually, but it still clashes with my expectations for what the tone of Doctor Who is. Like, I don't think this kind of stuff should happen in Doctor Who. The Doctor Who universe, as crazy as it is usually pretty grounded. And it has a certain level of believability and a certain way of working, even through different showrunners or whatever. It still has kind of like a consistent theme. Like, as much as it became more of a fairy tale during the Moffat run, I feel like Moffat still kept it relatively grounded and serious in that regard. Like it felt like a world that is believable. But with Chibnall, it's just like whatever. It literally anything can happen and nothing fits together. So yeah, I don't know. It's a pet peeve, it's a nitpick, I agree, but it just bothers me. So yeah, we don't really know what's gonna happen with the Doctor now, I guess. And I'm trying to think whether I forgot something. Oh yeah, we also had the plot, the B plot in this episode with Dan and Yaz not doing anything and ending up getting transported back in time. Which is where my biggest enjoyment out of the concept of a village of the angels came from, honestly, because as I said, the visuals that we get there with the village being abandoned and everything and looking like an old-timey village, it really reminded me of Resident Evil Village. And for that game, the opening minutes where you get to explore a village ravaged by creepy creatures is so fucking good. So that kind of flowed into my enjoyment for this episode. But the thing is, the episode didn't really do anything with that. It didn't really play up the creepy atmosphere much. So yeah. And in general, like, Dan and Yaz didn't really do much in this episode. They were just like the characters to take care of the B plot characters, because there was the B plot of looking for a girl who turned out to be transported back in time, and then even Jericho got transported back in time. And yeah, also we had the, I don't even really know how it was exactly related, but there was the part of the episode where it was revealed that the village of the angels was like a parallel pocket universe, or turned into a parallel pocket universe, or whatever, very similar to the episode Hide from series 7, which kind of brings me to something that I've thought about before, but I don't think I've really mentioned it anywhere. Maybe I've commented it on the Doctor Who and Gallifrey subreddits, but I definitely not talked about it on video. But Chibnall really fucking loves to steal other showrunners' ideas and do them worse. Because this idea of like a parallel pocket universe with a piece of, whether it's a forest in the case of Hyde in series 7, and in this case a village, it's just the same idea. And it's not the first time that Chibnall has done it. He did it with the secret doctor that the doctor or the audience didn't know about before, with Root Doctor, which is just exactly what Moffat did with the War Doctor. We had the Chameleon Circuit Time Lord hiding in plain sight, which is something that RTD did with the Master and Chibnall did with a previously unknown incarnation of the Doctor. It doesn't really, like, those things don't feel like homages or as a satisfying creative ideas. They just feel like stealing, pretty much stealing. You couldn't come up with your own idea, so you decided to write a fan fiction taking other showrunners' ideas. That's kind of how the whole era of Chibnall's feels like. It feels like a fan fiction. And that's why I personally still do not consider it canon. At best, I will enjoy the Flux or whatever, but the things that clashes with my expectations for Doctor Who and the canon, I would just not consider them canon, personally. But yeah, and the episode just ends with the Doctor being taken away by the Weeping Angels. Although I gotta say, it's really cool hearing that it's not just Time Lords working for the Division, but why would it not be just Time Lords working for the Division is really confusing to me. So hopefully they'll explain that later on. But yeah, that was the thing. And we kind of ended on a pretty cool cliffhanger with the Doctor being taken by the Weeping Angels. That's probably the best cliffhanger we've had so far in this Flux 6-parter, because the other ones have all been kind of lame and forced, especially the one between episode 3 and 4 really felt fucking lame. Between episode 1 and 2 with the Flux be ready to destroy the Doctor and everything was cool, but it didn't really amount to much, so it was just a cheap cliffhanger at the end of the day. Between episode 2 and 3, it was kind of tense, but again, the beginning of the next episode kind of nullified any tension that we had from the cliffhanger. And as I said, between 3 and 4, it was just bad. And it's a wasted opportunity to not have the Doctor say the angel got the phone box. Because that would be an actual really cool reference to Blink, the episode in which the Weeping Angels were introduced. So yeah, it was a really, really good episode, honestly, by Chibnall standards especially. Which is why, in terms of Chibnall episodes, this episode gets a straight up 9.4 out of 10. It was a great episode with great characters and great moments. Both funny and badass, and visually stunning as well. In terms of Doctor Who as a whole, I would say it's like a solid 8.4 out of 10. It was a really enjoyable episode. It's the one episode in Chibnall's era that I would not mind rewatching without any caveats. It was a really good episode on its own. I mean, War of the Centaurus is also up there in that regard, but I feel like this one is easily my favorite episode of the Chibnall era. But yeah, what did you guys think about this episode? Comment down below and let's have a discussion about it. And also, before we end this video, I just want to give a huge shout out and thanks to my currently 3 patrons on Patreon: Omari Bridgman, Deadpool, and Lemonade. Thank you guys for supporting me. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me that some people have decided that they enjoy my content enough to decide to support me. So it just really, I really appreciate it. And I hope you continue to enjoy my content for a long time and continue to support me for a long time. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me over there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you don't enjoy my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to my Patreon, where you can pledge support and help get the channel going. It helps support me so I can keep writing stories you enjoy. And in addition, you can also support me on my Ko-fi account, but keep in mind that website for me is more for like a one-time donation kind of thing, where you just donate, I don't know, like $3 or $5 or however many you feel like, and you don't really get any benefits outside of like a thank you mention in my videos for that specific donation. So I would still advise you, if you want to support me, to go to Patreon. So I would still advise you, if you want to support me, to go to my Patreon, but it's an option. But if you don't want to support me monetarily, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!